What's going on, everyone? Miller here. That time of the week. And this review is brought to you by the band Monuments with their latest release, In Stasis, off Century Media. This band was created by Fell Silent guitarist John Brown and Josh Travis of the Tony Danza Tap Dance Extravaganza, which was a pretty, I'm still a big fan of them. I don't know why it's crazy, and the name caught my eye. Yeah, I always think of that South Park episode where they had take the singing group of kids to the rainforest. Jennifer Aniston is in it, and they're in the middle of the rainforest, and lightning cracks, and Tony Danza pops up. It's hilarious.
Oh my god, dude! I just saw Tony Danza!
No, you didn't just see Tony Danza, Stanley.
But moving along, the current lineup is John Brown is still in there with the guitars. Adam Swan is on bass. Mike Milan is on drums and Andy Sizek on vocals. Now, Monuments is a progressive metalcore gent band, and they kind of stick to that classification of those things. Now, this album starts off with this little intro piece, which is cool because it's not overdrawn or anything. They open up to this little intro that leads into this really crushing riff that sounds badass. The guitar tone, though, and the tone over this album in general is very typical of gent and metalcore. It sounds good. It's produced very well. It's very clean. Right after that killer little intro, that really kind of heavy crushing riff, it goes into this really low-key kind of talk boxy thing that brings the mood down a little bit. They come back into it, but you can see in the first song, in the first couple minutes, the pattern that is going to exist through this album. It's really that it's almost they chose purposely to make every other 4 bars either clean or distorted vocals or fray vocals. And you literally see this throughout the whole album. It's like every other, it's almost all the time throughout the whole album. There are a few cases where that does change, and they do an extended clean line through 8 measures or 8 bars, but it's pretty much every 4 bars you're going to get a growl. Every other 4 bars you're going to get a clean, and it becomes extremely predictable. Lavos, the second song on here, starts with a really cool blast beat that really amps up the energy of the song and picks up the pace of the album a little bit, even the second song in. But right after that blast beat, it totally dives off into another clean section that's doesn't have the intensity or the energy that they presented in the first part of the song. It would have been cool if maybe they kept that energy going throughout the song instead of this big, it's just always up and down, which is cool in an album to have a diverse sound like that, where it's heavy and fast and then it goes into cleaner and slower. But this is every other 4 bars. It's too predictable to have an impact between those high moments and those low moments. When that wave is consistent, it's no longer fun to ride the wave because it's predictable. Cardinal Red is the first song to feature of 2 to feature Mick Gordon, and I don't know if this is the correct Mick Gordon, but it does sound like him. I'm a big video gamer, and Mick Gordon is very well known in the video game community for creating just some killer soundtracks. He did Wolfenstein, and then my favorites are Doom Eternal, the newer releases of Doom, re-releases of Doom. Mick Gordon did the music for Doom and Doom Eternal. And if you're a video gamer and you played those games and you're a metalhead, you immediately grab on to those tunes in that game. It creates the intense feeling that game has. Doom is very much a run and gun. If you're stationary, you will perish. And Mick does a fantastic job throughout his compositions to create that energy, create that mood, but also create atmosphere for those spots where you're just kind of going from area to area, which is few and far between in those games. Cardinal Red, I hear his playing come through. It fits very well with this band, but it still leads to the predictability of the album. And every other 4 bars is clean and then heavy and clean and heavy and slow and heavy. And Opiate has a really cool middle breakdown section, 5 to 10 seconds. The riff is really crushing and really cool, and it really grabs me. Yeah, I dig that riff, that breakdown with the production quality and everything. It fits very well. But then right back into the same clean vocal tropes that they're going through. There are a few other guest appearances on here. Spencer Sotelo from Periphery is on here. Jammin' John is a big Periphery fan. Mick Gordon's on 2 different tracks. They also brought back a former singer, Nima Asghari, to help on that first vocal track there. A lot of these guest stars, though, they fit in the same realm of the vocal style, so there really isn't too much to differentiate between the vocalists. You can tell when Spencer sings in the Arch Essence, he's got a little bit more gruff and a little more style to his vocal delivery, whereas I think Andy kind of fits into the stereotypical deathcore gent vocal styling that's been done. He's good. He sounds good. It just doesn't sound different. There's nothing to differentiate him from any of the other vocalists there. The only time in the album where I thought he really did something a little different and a little unique was Somnus, where he kind of has this like rap cadence to his vocal delivery, and it really had a good thing going there. But then the next 4 bars is back into the same thing that they've been doing this whole album. That's my ongoing gripe with the album. It's not a bad listen, especially if you are into gent. It's very much that. If you like gent, you'll dig this album. The production is great. It's clear. So with all that being said, I'm going to give this a 3 out of 5. There are some, and that's in the good spectrum, and that is pretty good for me considering I'm not into gent too much these days. The problem here is the predictability of it. There's nothing really to engage the listener, and there's not enough solid, simple riffs to wrap your head around and stuff to catch you, to get you hooked into a song. There's a lot of hooks in the vocal lines, but his vocals really don't have a lot of euphony going on, meaning they don't have a lot of words and phrases and lines that really sound good together and fit together. There are a lot of really good 5 to 10 second or 4-bar measures of just some killer riffing, killer drumming, everything's together, but most of those moments for me are when the vocals aren't there. And for me, the bottom line, the predictability of the vocals and the way they wrap the music around the vocals, like the vocals are the center point, it's just too predictable for me. It doesn't engage me as a listener. And that has nothing to do with the fact that I'm not an overly huge fan of gent or any of that metalcore. That for me is just listening from a listening point of view and taking in what I'm hearing without any other predetermination on what I'm expecting. So if you like metalcore, you like the gent, you'll probably dig this album. It's a good listen in terms of production and quality of production, but you may find yourself halfway through this album kind of going, I've heard this song. I've heard this song before, not only in this band, but other bands. So pick this album up if you're into this stuff, because I think you'll enjoy it. And if you enjoy the channel, please give it a thumbs up, like, subscribe, all that stuff. We got a lot of big things coming. I've been off the channel on air, but working my mojo in the background. We got some huge announcements here in the next coming weeks, a month or so. We're getting everything kind of raveled up. We have Patreon if you want to support us, support the channel there on Patreon. And we still have shirts for sale. If you go to thrallsandmetal.com, click on the store tab there, it'll take you to our Shopify page where you can check out our merchandise there, and I'll get that wrapped and sent to you as soon as I possibly can. And from all of us at Thralls of Metal, we thank you so much for helping us reach 10,000. We can't thank you enough. We will continue to do so annoyingly. But until next time.